Nick from Peterson Brass. I appreciate you taking time at this. We're kind of taking the opportunity that we're seeing a lot of other distributors, vendors here that, and a lot of these are conversations we have off to the side that are good for our customers to know how we feel and communicate. So
glad to be here.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
So what is it that you're trying to tell these Shields employees about your brass here today?
So we're going to try and drive home some of the things that sets us apart from the rest of the competitors in the industry, and really drive home. I think I gave you a card earlier that had a couple of bullet points. Our inspection process and how much we push that inspection process, the whole process throughout the production of the brass itself. There's a lot that goes into it, and breaking it all down for them, it gives them a better understanding of what it is that we're doing back at the shop to make a better product for the end consumer and what they need to know to be able to tell their customers to help them boost their sales.
Yeah.
So
I think it's probably, every reloader works with brass to a degree, so they can probably sympathize a little bit with what that is, but still never fully understand that I think it's somewhat witchcraft what you guys do in batch to batch, this material, it's a lot different than steel, really. We're cutting a die and stuff.
Absolutely.
With a reamer. There's also a lot of industries that work with steel, so there's a lot of understanding of this is how this cutter should be profiled for that, and this and brass is different.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely different. It's the forming process, the annealing process. There's a lot that goes into it. Like when you're dealing with hardnesses the whole way through the process, everything has to be correct. And the way our process works, early on, it has to be right. As it goes around through the cell and through the line and through the progress, if it's wrong at the beginning, it's going to be really wrong towards the back end. So everything it's very methodical. It's very well thought out. It's a testament to Derek Peterson and his attention to detail and learning how to work all that through. A lot of our process was designed by him. A lot of our tooling's been designed by him, and it's been absolutely phenomenal. When people get to come to the shop and see the process, it blows their mind. A lot of people think it's a mold. It's not a mold. Brass is drawn and formed from the word go the whole way through the process. So it's quite the thing to see.
Well, and those inspection tools and the inspection things that you're doing, like they aren't things that are on the shelf at MSC. Like I'm sure a lot of it's you created it specific to be sure that it would be good for the process and the product you're trying to make.
Yeah, and in our inspection process and quality control in general, we have our operators that run the cells. I did that for a number of years before moving into this position. Our operators are doing quality control checks. Then we have guys that are on the floor in the production cells doing quality control checks, and that's before it even makes it to QC. So it goes all the way through that process, then through the ballistician process to test the brass, then it goes to QC. So it goes over to QC, it's inspected by a machine, and anything that's kicked out of the machine, then it's hand inspected. So we inspect 100% of all the parts that we make. Not one doesn't get looked at in some way, shape, or form. So
I know, and you don't have to tell me numbers on here either, but I know, like, we were talking some of the runs and what some of that scrap rate is. Like, that's just, it's incredible to be that critical of that, to scrap that percentage.
Yeah, that's a testament to Derek and, his attention to detail. I don't think he could keep him up at night if it got any worse. There is a standard that we hold, and it has to stay there. There's no question. He's not interested in the higher volume.
Right.
He's interested in the quality first, and then we push the volume as fast and as hard as we can. We push that volume, but if we lose quality, everything stops.
Well, and that, arguably that volume market is filled other places.
Right.
So they don't. It's not doing the customer any good for you to try to fill that and make as many as possible.
Right, yes.
What does our customers good is you making the best that there is.
That's what we're after. And again, it's consistency all the way through the lot. Very, very small changes in that lot. Like when we're running brass, if we change a die, if we change a dimension, it results in a lot change. When a shooter buys brass from us, it'll all be the same lot regardless. And it's a testament to the consistency the whole way through. That's what we're after. Consistency first, and accuracy, and also the quality, how long the brass lasts, how robust it is.
Yeah.
So those are the big three. And then we're known for some of our cosmetic stuff too. The brass looks really, really good, and he's big on that as well.
Yeah. And I know you get involved with some of the customer relations tech things, which, I mean, our whole industry has to do a lot of that, just because reloading is a complicated process that has, your fingers are involved, my fingers are involved, and being sure we all work nicely together. I've said it several times, but it's amazing it works as well as it does, honestly.
Yeah, oh yeah, there's a lot of interfacing going on with different products. I mean, you could even go from different presses, different dies, and it's not all from the same person, different brass. There's a lot of interfacing going on. The more consistent we can be on that end of it, and the more consistent everybody can be, the better off everyone is. It's not, I don't even think it's as complicated as you want to make it. So I don't look at it as a very complicated process. I look at it as very straightforward. But when you start out with good products, quality products, it makes it way easier.
It makes it way easier.
Yes. Yeah,
so what if someone, is there anything someone should do to your brass out of the box before they seat anything into it?
So the only thing that we recommend for our brass, no sizing. Neck tension's usually set somewhere in the 2 to 3 thou mark, depending on the wall thickness and how that run went. But you can be sure the whole way through that lot of brass, the neck tension's consistent. No sizing of the brass, no forming of the neck whatsoever. Don't run it through a die. All we look for is a light chamfer and deburr of the mouth, and you don't really even have to do that, but it's something that I like to recommend. Just do a light chamfer and deburr, load, and go.
We strongly recommend it just as a die manufacturer, because what can happen if there is a burr, and in the process, sometimes it's hard to not have, and even just shipping things over back and forth, whatever. But those burrs can weld themselves inside that die, and then they'll start scratching cases. And brass in a die, you're not gonna spray your brake cleaner in there and wipe it down with a hand towel and get that out of there. It's gonna take some. If you send that die into us, we're gonna do things to it that you wouldn't do to your mother, or to get that out of there.
We've gotten a few sent back to us, guys thinking it was a brass issue. It ends up not being a brass issue, and what happened, they gall the inside of the die, and we've polished dies for people at the shop. Derek's polished dies, I've watched them do it, and it's a thing. So like that, again, that light chamfer and deburr, that just ensures that doesn't end up happening, makes everybody's life easier. That's all we recommend at the end of the day. So that's it.
Saves you a lot of hassle.
Yes, it
going
does.
On.
Yep, it's just a nice and easy, simple step that can save a lot of hassle for everybody. So,
is there anything, like you said, don't size, don't that, is there any like common thing you see people do wrong with that new brass? Or?
So everyone wants the brass to last as long as humanly possible. We all know that as you work brass, it gets brittle. It gets harder and it gets brittle. Well, that kills the brass life. So if you're going to get out there right out of the gate and start sizing the brass, moving the brass around, you're making it harder. It comes annealed from us. It's already ready to go. The less you can work it, the longer that brass life's going to be, no matter what it is. It doesn't matter what brand, what caliber. The less you can work it, the longer it's going to last. If you mitigate that initial when the brass is brand new and you get rid of that sizing process right out of the gate, you're already ahead. It doesn't matter. And then when you do fire it the first time and you get into that first time you're reloading, minimal shoulder bump, 2 thou, 1.5 thou. It's kind of personal preference. I hear guys run 3, 2, whatever. Some guys run till it just fits in the gun. Guys like us, we shoot PRS. You want it to run smoother, so I usually err on the 2 to 3 side, but that tends to be like the sweet spot, 2 thou shoulder bump, and that's it. No more than that. I have customers that bump it a lot more, and the brass fails sooner. We have guys that don't bump them at all, and they'll run it till it gets sticky, and then they start to size them. I hear all kinds of different things. So
I think, when you said, it was surprising to me, and it's not really, you said you try to hold the necks at 2 to 3 thousandths tension as new. And I know from new, I've checked on other ones, it can be pushing 4 and 5. So I mean, I can see why. It'd just be, hey, out of the gate, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start sizing, sizing necks. But something that Josh and I always advocate is just measure your stuff. You know, so you get that Peterson in, measure it.
Check it.
It'll be what it is. And
Absolutely,
if you don't have to do it, don't do it.
If you don't need to go any further, don't. Unless I've had guys that won't discuss that. I'm going to do this, and that's just the way it is, no matter what it's set at. And some guys that don't trust that the neck's concentric. Our necks are very concentric, very minimal run out, and some people they just would rather run a mandrel through it and make sure everything's the way they want it. So,
and we're always at the these are Forrester gives recommendations of this is what we would do, and Peterson has recommendations. This is what you would do. In the end, you're the reloader. If you want to do it, you bought the brass. This is America. You size it. It's just these are the cautions to the wind of why we'd suggest not to.
And the answers that you're going to get when you reach out to customer service for somebody, anybody, you're going to get that answer. The same answer we've talked about numerous times. You'll get that answer from us. Minimize the work that you're doing to the brass. And just step by step every time, stay consistent, and you won't have any issues. So
I think it's pretty obvious things like that Peterson's really looking at the customer a lot. One of the things I saw that you did with that, like the mag brass that you're doing. We talked on our last episode a lot about headspace, and the difference between a mag headspace is, it's off that belt, not the shoulder. But as a reloader, you care about that shoulder, kind of exactly what you were talking about. So maybe you want to say what you guys kind of did with that mag brass.
So it's the 300 Win Mag long and the 7 Rem Mag long, and soon to be coming would be the 338 Win Mag, and we're going to make a 338 Win Mag long. The concept behind that is the amount of growth in a standard 300 Win Mag, and I've shot 300 Win Mag for a lot of years, and it was a lot of growth. So I could fire it 3-4 times before it actually hit. And you're looking at anywhere from 10 to 14 or more thou worth of growth in that casing. You're killing your case life. Case head separation starts very early, and they're junk. So the concept behind it is we took that shoulder and we pushed that shoulder forward 10 thou. So on the first firing, you're only getting roughly a 4 thou worth of growth in the casing. Again, you're minimizing the work done. So that's boosting your case life right out of the gate. So you're getting way more firings out of a belted magnum that before was dead in 5 or 6 firings. You're going north of 20 now. So it's pretty impressive. It's a great concept. It's starting to gain a lot of traction with guys once they get to know about it and they get to learn about it. And it's I've been shooting them now for 5 years in mine, trying them different ways. I got one on 20 firings right now, and it's still alive. So it's going really, really well.
Oh, that's incredible. I mean, that we were kind of earlier too talking about Sammy and some of the dimensions that are there, and so it's like you're well within your rights according to the ammo gods to set that 20 thousandths back, but it's not right for the customer. Set it out, and that's what's the reloader. That's not
right.
And if I'm Hornady and I'm making factory ammo, that makes sense. Make it short. You want to be sure it's going to fit in all these guns.
Every way possible.
But then like one of those, so that's head spacing on those mags. How do you head space a standard cartridge, or what's your?
So normally, Sammy has a spec, a plus and a minus. We try to run nominal in the center of that spec is what we're after, or potentially a thou or so under nominal is what we're after. So when we form in one machine. The shoulder and the headspace and everything is set in one machine. All the brass hits the same die stack. Every piece of brass goes through the same die stack. So that constitutes the consistency of the brass.
That means you go buy this bag and this bag. That was run through the same die.
Exactly the same die stack.
It wasn't 5 different lines that had 5 different dies.
Exactly. And if we do change dies out, and we change dimensions in any way, that results in a lot change. We stop right there, and it results in a lot change. So at the end of the day, the customer, you're running, let's say you buy 500, and you run through 250 of them, and you hit a spot to where something changed, it's not any good for anybody. So that's the thing. If we do start changing dimension, internal volume in any way, the lot changes immediately right then and there. So when we're setting Headspace with our brass at the factory, everything's done on that one machine on that set of dies. So it's obviously a reduction process.
Right.
So it goes through the first one, it comes all the way through, and different calibers have different amounts of dies that we run them through, but they all hit the same dies. That machine also sets where that shoulder's at, and we can adjust that up to like a couple tenths of a thou, plus or minus, and we usually hold a very, very, very tight tolerance. Unless something was to go wrong with the die, which everything stops, we swap dies out, lot change happens. There's a lot that goes into that. But we hold an extremely tight tolerance the whole way through a lot of brass on that Headspace from the brand new brass.
Yeah.
So that's another thing guys say they want to set the Headspace to the same place whenever they get new stuff. It's really not necessary unless you want to get down the rabbit hole of talking that a half a thou or maybe 8/10 actually matters.
Yeah.
I don't think you can shoot the difference.
Well, and your variable out of new brass. I mean, I know Josh, who's been testing some, had some pretty incredible SDs and things coming out of new brass. But like your opportunity for it to not be as good as new that's why you're reloading, so that next firing you can set it to your rifle.
Yeah, whatever you want. Yeah.
But it's like you're definitely taking a lot of those things and trying to make it. Obviously, no one wants to just. Hey, it's not just a good a fun practice for me to fire form. Send this box of burgers down there just because I want to do it.
Yeah, that's with us. We just load virgin, and and majority of the time we'll go virgin brass. My son last weekend, I have an 11-year-old that loads all his ammo. And last weekend, he came over and showed me the Garmin, and it was SD was 0.7 over 10 rounds. And he's like, I think that'll work, Dad. I think you're good. And that's virgin brass, And
I kind of feel like you should have been a little harder on it. You
yeah,
could tighten that up a little bit.
You could tighten that up to half, But he runs that, and then whenever he goes to his thing, and I let him develop his own process, he goes into his first firing, he pulls 0.2 of a grain out of his load. And that's all he does, and just goes ahead and run, and it's the same speed, and just runs it after that.
Yeah.
So after it's fired, it expands a little bit. He pulls 0.2 of a grain out of his load, and everything's right on par. It shoots the same no matter what he does. So very, very simple, and that's a testament to it. If an 11-year-old can run it like that, and it's good quality equipment, good quality components, that's all it takes.
Yeah.
So that's where we're at.
Yeah, and we looked at. And this isn't verbatim per cartridge, but like where you said you're like midway point to nominal. It's like if I look at a 308 Sammy maximum cartridge is actually longer than Sammy minimum chamber.
Yeah.
Well, I know from reloading, if I'm 4 thousandths longer, my opportunity for that to not be a super smooth bolt close, whether Sammy says I can crush fit that or not, that's not something that you're going to do. So, trying to hit that, if you're saying middle nominal, you're right under minimum chamber. You're pretty close to that chamber to begin with.
Right. So, yeah. You're not very far away from it. There is a fine line. We have to fit in everything. All the different guns, we have to be able to fit in it. And we do a lot of testing at the shop on that as well. So we test in everything from a custom rifle with a super tight chamber to the cheapest gun you could buy off the shelf anywhere, to make sure everything works and works well. And that's the main goal. We have a ballistician that's on payroll. He's there every day, and that's his job, is to make sure that. So wherever that spec is, we try to stay right in the middle in that nominal. And that's what pretty much all the specs, if you look at all the Sammy tolerances, we try to run dead center in the middle, and that tends to keep us out of trouble.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and it's, we make Headspace gauges and we make chamber reamers and understand that, that 4 thousandths datum line to back difference, that's one measurement.
Yep.
But there's tolerance in this angle, there's tolerance in that angle.
Yes.
And so when we make a gauge, and if the gauge has an angle of this and the reamer has an angle of this, so I mean, to your point, to be a little conservative and be sure, that doesn't mean your gunsmith did a bad job, or anybody did a bad job. It's just
interfacing all the different products. That's you run into that with the Dasher a lot, or even an Ackley improved.
Yeah.
The
any of those
angle.
non-Sammy where you don't even have a tolerance to go off of, you're just
yeah, you're kind of at the mercy there. But it actually improves. Another one where I've had guys call and say about, well, my brass got shorter when I fired it the first time, and the first time I came across that, it kind of flipped me out too. I wasn't really sure what way to go with that, and all it was the shoulder got steeper.
Right.
So it gave the illusion that it got shorter, and it was after a bunch of testing and working through it that we figured that out. And I tell them, go ahead and shoot it again. Everything will get normal after that. And
he was probably really understanding and like absolutely 100%.
Yeah, it went good. He kind of called me crazy a couple of times whenever I told him that, but he did. I got him to go try it, and it worked.
Yep.
And after that, it was off to the races. It was a fire, tooth out shoulder bump, and everything was normal. So, but it was just all it was the shoulder angle of the brass. And then the shoulder angle in the chamber, when he fired it, it got steeper. The shoulder angle on the brass got steeper, which gave the illusion that it got shorter. When it actually didn't, it just got steeper.
Yeah.
So,
and then I'd say lesson there is like, you know, if you call a tech like that Forrester or Peterson and they tell you something like that, it's not usually just to get you off the phone.
No, absolutely
it's
not.
that we have, you know, and you could be a 40-year veteran reloader and a reloaded more years than I've been alive.
Yeah.
But people like yourself and myself, we're talking 10 hours a day. This is what we're talking about. And when there's a problem, we get called about it. So we probably have an idea. So
that's it.
And sometimes to be honest, if like I called you and you told me that, I'd assume some crazy town too. So it's not, you know, I don't blame people for having these feelings, but just, you know,
that's just it. Where it boils down to something I try to preach throughout the industry. Customer support has gotten better.
Yeah,
it has to, because if not, you're scrutinized for it. The customer support has to be there. Guys like yourself, that's what I do at Peterson. You have all over, and especially in the precision rifle game where the tolerances are very tight the whole way through the whole thing. That's where you're really going to get crucified. If I'm way off or I'm way wrong, you're going to pay the price for that.
Right.
Your reputation's on the line. All of us, we're all on the line. So no, we're not trying to get you off the phone. We're legitimately trying to troubleshoot your problem and get you through it.
Yeah.
I want my product to work just like you want your product to work for everybody.
Yeah.
That's what we're after.
And you might have to solve the problem. You might have to talk to me and then talk to Nick and then talk to someone else, because when we have all these different products in there, it's you know, I always get a kick out of like I've had this problem occurred, and the only, you know, I don't have this I use all these same components in my 223 and I never have this problem. Yeah. But now I'm here and I'm having this problem.
Yeah.
It's like, you changed just by changing calibers. You changed so many variables.
That's just it. Yeah. That's
that
it.
We just have to.
Yep.
It's not going to be a quick answer. Is the problem?
It never is. A lot of times, what we pull, we had a customer like a week ago actually send his dies to us, send the brass back to us, and we were able to take it. And the president of our company, Derek, will be one of the ones helping me troubleshoot this issue. And we went in the lab, and we spent 2 hours on this, and we come out the other end of it with an answer. And we knew exactly what was going on, and it didn't end up being the brass. But we were able to troubleshoot the problem, get his equipment back to him, and no more issue.
Yeah.
Once the equipment got back to him, he followed the practice and everything was great. He trusted that that's how that's going to go, and it worked out great for him. But again, a lot of it's just trusting the customer support guys, not just there to talk to you. We're there to figure it out for you and help you.
But you have a problem, call, because
absolutely.
Derek, I know I do. Did you like you take it personal at the end of the day? And it's like I go to bed at night thinking about why this press isn't working for you and trying to figure it out. So
I've had a few of those instances.
We take them personal.
Yeah, we do, absolutely. And I've had a few of those nights where I'll be at a match, and that's the worst, because you're at a match, you're trying to shoot a match, and you have a guy come up to you with a problem, and then you're done day one, and you're all night, you're just trying to rest up for day two, and you're thinking about what's going on with this, and you can't. It's definitely personal, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So I agree with that wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
So
well, you know, really appreciate the time and what you guys are doing for the industry, and
likewise,
looking forward to working with you more. And
absolutely.
Yeah.
we'll keep. We got to keep Josh on his toes here. I need to get him out shoot our match this year. So we're ready for that. But glad to be here, and we appreciate the opportunity, and we'll be working with you, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So